Welcome back, everybody, to the European Overwatch PIT Championship for Group B. I'm Storm, and with Hurix here for our final series of the day between Movistar Riders and Hammers Esports. Hurix, give me your thoughts on this matchup, because Hammers Esports a little disappointing yesterday. Movistar Riders, coming out, they have a 1-1 record as well. Both these two teams are actually tied at 1-1 here, looking to move to 2-1. So, what are your thoughts on this matchup here?
I think for this series, we should see Movistar Riders take this one. I think that they, at the moment, are the better team. I mean, certainly Hammers Esports, with the disappointing performance yesterday, certainly looking to come back and, make a stand a little bit. And Numbani is a great place to start it, as it is going to be our first map, as that was the first map, I believe, that we actually saw them on at all, up against ATAX, where they took it 3-0, very convincing fashion. But this is still a team that of a caliber that they haven't yet played, I think. I mean, obviously, Hammers Esports with games against ATAX and Singularity, it's hard to kind of gauge where they're at. Certainly, if this was, tomorrow or even the next day, we'd have a little bit better of an understanding of where teams are kind of sitting. But with how things are right now, if I was putting my money, I would be putting it on Movistar Riders. I think Hammers Esports has a shot here on this particular map, given their performance the last time we saw them, and they look good with their 3-tank strat. If they pull that out, I think that'll be good for them. But again, Movistar Riders has looked pretty strong, and I think ultimately, pretty much holistically, I think they should be able to pull this one out. And make this maybe a 2-1 set, but I think ultimately Movistar Riders will take this series.
I have to agree. I feel like Movistar, especially after their performance yesterday against Misfits, even though they lost 0-2, it was, Numbani was very well Movistar's map, easily. I mean, there was no defense whatsoever from Misfits on the first checkpoint or even the second checkpoint. Movistar Riders moved into the third one with 5:30 to go on Numbani in particular. And the fact that we're headed to Numbani to get things started makes me feel like they should be able to come out on fire. They will be on the defense to get things underway here on our final best of 3 of the day here. And Hammers Esports, I really wasn't super impressed with them yesterday up against Singularity Ninjas. Many opportunities, I think, that were missed to try to take the series, but we'll see if they're able to come back into today and try to push themselves up to that 2-1 record.
On the defensive side, we do see a 2-2-2 strat coming up with a lot of ability to take advantage of the geometry. Here we see Dante and Logix in the backline. Fenzi more than likely going to be sticking back with them as much as possible, just to try to contend with anybody that does get aggressive and tries to dive towards them. But we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. Obviously, Christopher and Fisher more than likely to go ahead with that dive. Sev going to be swapping over to the D.Va, and we will see completely mirror compositions from both sides here, actually, as Snizzlenose not on the Roadhog, but instead the Soldier here to start things off.
Saw that a little bit from him yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see what they're able to make of this one. Like you said, identical team comps. We'll see who's going to be making the first move. I'm expecting Christopher to get into the back line here, exactly what he's going to do. Ooh, he's actually knocked down because of the Jets coming out there from Fincy and making that initial push from Christopher kind of not the best they had actually hoped for. It's a 1-for-1 at this point in time, though, as Hammers Esports actually lose their D.Va out of the mech, and they're going to be forced to back off of this one.
We will see Sev pulling back, still out of mech, so he definitely wants to get as much poke damage off as possible to try to get his mech back without having to go all the way back himself. But that's going to take a lot of time off, as they're going to be slower paced to be able to re-engage with. And we do see Christopher just jumping right in here. Or actually, sorry, that was Colsty that was jumping in there to be able to back these guys off. And already a minute is off the clock here. Movistar Riders definitely looking solid here, at least initially.
Christopher's really struggling to actually find an opportunity to move back in, and I think that's a lot because of the clumping we're seeing from Fincy and Colsty. They're both just kind of sitting on each other's tails. Swoosh is able to punch out a little bit of damage as well. There's Christopher diving way into the back. He's taking an alternate route this time around. Definitely like the change-up from him. Will it mean a whole lot? There's a Primal Rage already coming out here from Colsty. Though Snizzlenose finding the first pick. They also lose a couple, but Logic's on the other end with Attack Visor, picks up 3, gets a nano boost as well, picks up a 4th kill, make it 5, and Logix lights up the feed here from Movistar Riders.
220 in the time bank now, and great performance from Movistar Riders. They have not given up a single tick yet, and definitely taking advantage again of this particular map geometry. Really doing well with this high ground, and I agree. I think Finzi and Colsty just being together here up on this high ground, able to contend with anybody trying to get aggressive, and then if anybody tries to take advantage by just getting back away. But oh, what a nice start here, starting out from Fisher, who finds 2 looking for that kill against Neptuno, but Neptuno does manage to back away.
Swoosh now with his own Dragon Blade into the sound barrier from Tomsy. He's going to be taken out by the Swift Strike from Fisher. This should ultimately mean that Hammers Esports are going to be able to come through with this one. Self-destruct as well is forced out from Fincy to get the reset. He doesn't find anything, unfortunately. Colsey now under a lot of pressure. Good heals coming through from Dante. Primal Rage is out there. There's a self-destruct from Seb. Picks up the kill on the Dante. Snizzle Nose with the Tactical Visor. Able to find a kill on Colsey here. This will secure checkpoint A here for Hammers Esports.
And they should find that kill on D.Va pretty quickly. They do indeed. That's Fisher with that final killing blow. That is the secured point A here, as we do see the payload start moving. Swaps are going to come out here. I imagine Christopher going to be going over to the Reinhardt more than likely. Snizzle Nose going over to the Roadhog. So back to, I guess, their standard composition here is what we're seeing now.
Really surprised. Actually, I'm not too surprised to see Movistar Riders lose that, because Fincy was out. He was out of the mech and didn't really have an opportunity to help against that Dragon Blade from Fisher, so it was really rough. He moves over to the Zarya now. The rest of the comp going to be staying relatively similar. Primal Rage from Colsey going to try to knock him off the map. Does get a pick there, knocking the Reinhardt off. Now looking to do the same onto Roadhog, and unfortunately for Sev, that projected barrier doesn't help against knockbacks anymore, so it didn't really do a whole lot to be able to keep him off the map. But ultimately here, he was actually taken down in the end, and it looks like Movistar Riders are able to hold on here, and they're playing extremely aggressive. What do you make of this?
I mean, they're just trying to... this is something that we've seen a lot of teams try to do, and it's all about just keeping the point contested, giving up nothing. Don't let anything be given away at all, and that's all about just getting up in the face, even if it requires you to get up in the spawn, because as soon as you lose the point, you know, you can just get right back into it. There's still a lot of ground to be covered before they get any extra time, and they can back these guys up into their spawn time and time again. It's really just a smart way of defending, I think, to be able to just contest this point. I mean, the point hasn't moved. That's what this is all about.
And Nano Visor, really not a whole lot of value. It did buy themselves a little bit of space, but now that we're seeing some aggression come out from the offensive end. Ooh, there's a pick from Snizzle. They're going to go ahead and use the Nano Blade now from Fisher, looking for one. Gets Neptuno. They're going to blow it up as Sevs uses the Graviton Surge that will ultimately secure the second checkpoint here for Hammers Esports. A much needed quick capture, because that first checkpoint took them a little bit longer than maybe had expected, but now they're going to have themselves about 310 to try to finish out the remaining part of this map.
Slow and steady push coming out here, and kind of a medium set pace, I would say, to be able to push this one so far. But 3 minutes now on the time bank, as once again we're seeing, you know, the side of Movistar Riders coming out here and really trying to be aggressive right on the payload, again giving nothing at all away. And we do see the Graviton Surge as well ready from Finzy. He's definitely looking for an opportunity, but doesn't want to get it eaten up, and has an opportunity to let it loose now. Sound barrier coming out. This is the shot here if they want to use it.
Sound barrier is out for both sides now. Fincy doesn't even look like he wants to. He's going to be dropped here before he gets an opportunity. Snizzle has the high ground. He actually drops down below, uses Whole Hog. He's taken out by Swoosh on the Pharah here, and Swoosh still roaming free up in the skies, looking for the pick onto the Ana there. Shaz is going to be able to get D.Va out of the mech, and Movistar Riders, with their aggressive defensive style, looking to push him back. They should be able to do just that and force to regroup from both ends.
And we will see the barrage at the ready as well. And I imagine that they're going to want to try to get the most out of that by just using the Graviton Surge there. And that is likely to come out. Look at all these ultimates stacking up for the defensive side. Movistar Riders looking poised to make another hold here with 150 on the clock. Certainly kind of in dire straits right now if you're Hammers Esports.
Gonna go ahead and nano boost up Christopher. There's a Graviton Surge into the hole, or excuse me, into the barrage, but he gets taken down by Snizzle Nose there. It's a 2-for-1, make it 3-for-1 as Colsey is going to be dropped. The Movistar Riders have plenty of time to get a regroup. They actually saved onto 3 ultimates in that engagement. A lot was kind of expended there from the opposing side on the offensive end. I'm looking for a big nano visor now from Logix.
They need to get rid of Christopher, and actually a very nice Earth Shatter that came out.
Oh man, Boostio on accident there. Neptuno was just in front of Logix, who had been put on the ground. Honestly, I don't like that at all. I didn't like the fact that they used the nano boost there, because Christopher had already hit Logix with the Earth Shatter when Tactical Visor was out. Logix was already on the ground. And what does he do? Dante instead just goes ahead and pops out the nano boost, even when he's still on the ground, accidentally hits Neptuno. I think that could have entirely been avoided, but fortunately, Movistar Riders don't end up losing that fight.
In my opinion, the big idea there was to try to get the damage reduction onto Logix as soon as possible so that he could actually keep him alive.
There was no one there for follow-up either. There was absolutely no one there around for follow-up.
See Christopher nano boosted up here, and he's actually just going to try to create some space for the rest of the team as the sound barrier comes out. That's going to negate both of those ultimates as both of them wear out.
Sound barrier used as well. There's a big shatter from Christopher. He picks up 3 or 4 with it. They're going to be able to clean this one up. A rocket barrage. Oddly timed from Swoosh. He just wanted to see if he could get something done. Found a kill, but that's going to be Hammers Esports finishing out Numbani with 8.4 seconds remaining.
Just a little bit of time left on that clock. Definitely going to bode well for them, as we could see Movistar Riders going ahead and mounting a pretty good attack and making it themselves, but that will at least give Hammers Esports a chance here, if that does become the case, be able to finish this one out. Nonetheless, last time we saw Hammers Esports, they were able to run the map with I mean, not much time left at all. The last time they ran it too, I mean, it looked kind of similar actually to what we saw up against alternate attacks, but you know, they were able to hold out on that first point very, very effectively. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to do just the same. And we are going to be seeing Fisher and Snizzlenose on the Genji as well as the Tracer there, respectively, between them, and Christopher as well as Sev on Winston and Diva. So they're more than likely going to be setting up kind of similarly, but it's not going to actually work the same. It's not going to be executed the same because they don't have to worry as much about the backline. It's really just going to be kind of Shaz by himself with a lot more aggression, I would say, than what we saw from the side of Movistar Riders, who of course had to kind of keep Finzi up as well, who was on that soldier. Now Dante this time is on a soldier at the moment, but I think that's just going to be swapped up. Nonetheless, we're going to be seeing a dive here more than likely from Movistar Riders, and that 2-2-2, of course, that we already talked about from Hammers Esports, that are looking to make a solid hold, just like we saw against ATAX, perhaps, and maybe take this map here.
Movistar had such a tremendous time against Misfits. As I had mentioned before, this map actually, came up here with their push on Numbani. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the same this time around. They had an instant capture, an instant second point capture. We'll see if that's going to happen once again here as they go with a pretty similar composition, if I'm not mistaken, going with that Pharah. Not a whole lot to really counter the Pharah on the side of Hammers. They do have Fisher, they have Sev. Let's see what they can get done with it, as well as Shaz on the Ana, as he's going to take a little bit of an alternate route as opposed to what his team's doing. He is going to be spotted out here. They do see Snizzlenose as well on the Tracer as they look to make their first move into that back line.
And Logic's just going to kind of chase that Tracer out a little bit. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing already Movistar just getting control of this high ground, forcing everybody else down, but Neptuno is going to be caught out and basically isolated for a kill. Fisher going to be finding that one, and still Movistar trying to hold on to this high ground. They haven't been able to find too much. They finally get that kill on Snizzlenose on the Tracer to open things up, and now they have to deal with Shaz in the backline. If they can do that, that'll be good for them, but nonetheless, Fisher coming through with 2 kills there as Logic kills himself again, and all you hear right now is just the sound of Fisher's blades as he dashes through everybody.
It seriously is. This guy has been such a tremendous flanker already on this map, just dashing back and forth with the Swift Strike and making sure that there's no way they can even catch him for the most part. Now, 1:10 off the board, still plenty of time to work with if you are Movistar Riders, but you got to wonder, do you make any changes here to try to deal with Fisher, who already has a Dragon Blade? They have a Nano Boost to help him out here, and I'm looking for something big to happen from this as they start to move in.
He's looking for the best possible target for himself to jump on, and really he hasn't been required to do that because Colsey just got eliminated so easily. They might be able to just hold on to this one, as they should be able to find the kill on Neptuno here, as he's gotten isolated once again. Now it's all about just cleaning up. Logic's already finding 2 kills, though. Maybe they might need it.
I don't know that they do, because it's Fisher. I've just been watching this man right here. He should be able to find that 76 potentially. He's dangerous low. He finally will be taken down by Dante, who picks up a second kill on the set, who's not able to actually get back into the mech here. Recall from Tracer, able to save the life for the time being, but 2 ticks on the board. They pop Tactical Visor. I think that was a mistake from Dante's end, but they just wanted to secure the checkpoint.
And we will see Tomsy as well as Snizzlenose coming off of that long spawn. Tomsy going to be, of course, able to give him that speed boost so that Snizzlenose can actually make it back a lot more quickly. But of course, still they have to wait on that now to make their defense. And Fisher still holding on to that ultimate. I imagine we're going to be seeing at least 3 ultimates in this next fight for Fisher to be able to get pretty aggressive here and for them to just jump forward, probably chase them back to that spawn for sure.
Primal Rage is actually popped there. There's a Dragon Blade from Fisher. Gets a nano boost up now, looking for the Primal Rage to Winston. Self-destruct comes through here. Doesn't find anything. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Fisher only finds one. On the other side, though, Swoosh with one of his own. Kolsty gets the kill onto Fisher, dealing with that nuisance. And finally, Movistar Riders should be able to make a clean move through the streets here with the payload as soon as they can get rid of this, get rid of the Roadhog and the Diva, who are still on the payload. Finally, a good bio grenade connects there from Dante, and they will be able to move forward.
And we will see Logic's just putting in a ton of work to be able to secure this one. He does manage to get barraged up. Fenzi on the Zarya right now. Certainly, I mean, we're going to be seeing the barrage before that becomes active, that Graviton Surge. But, you know, perhaps that will become something that will prove to be pivotal later on down the road. 3 minutes now on the time bank as Logix is looking for an opportunity to get into the backline and lay down this barrage. Already letting it go, and that's right into Christopher. It's mostly going to get eaten up by the Diva, though, so virtually no impact at all as Soundbarrier comes out as well from Harry's Esports.
From both sides, it's actually out here. Not a whole lot of ultimates that work with. Nice kill coming through from Christopher. Finds the Fire Strike onto Kolsty, which is going to move Movistar Riders all the way back into their base. We're going to see the rest of Hammers actually pressure them up. No, they're going to pull back, knowing that that payload is dangerously close to touching the second checkpoint. 230 to work with. Not a whole lot of ult still. Swoosh getting close to a Dragon Blade. Dante ready to go with his nano boost to help him out.
Benzie just pushing forward a bit, and Swoosh just waited to try to get that Dragon Blade so that Dante can go ahead with that nano boost and they can try to make the most of it. Dragon Blades have been a little spotty so far, but this is certainly a good spot for him to go ahead with it, looking to just dive into the air. Does get the nano boost this time, and he is going to go for some kills, but they're backing up completely. He finds one to begin with, but needs to find the soldier kill. Not going to find it at least yet, and finally finds the kill on Fisher, and they should be able to mop this up now.
I don't even think it really mattered, the fact that it took him so long. The fact he was able to find the initial kill there, Hurix, and then basically make that 76 useless and chase him around was pivotal for them to be able to come through with that team fight victory. And now they're looking at about a similar time to what Hammers Esports had to finish out the remaining part of this map. 3:10 on the clock. Not much to work with ult-wise. But on the other end, Hammers Esports are sitting in a pretty solid position, I think, with the Nano Visor ready to go, along with Christopher with that Earthshatter. There's the Tactical Visor coming down. The Nano Boost wasn't used onto him. I believe it was actually pushed onto Christopher. They go all out on this one, trying to find the team wipe.
Nonetheless, Movistar Rider is going to be backed up a bit as Christopher is very far forward here. And a nice hook coming out from Snizzlenose is just going to secure that defense there as Fenzi is going to be on respawn here. Logix ready to go with his Tactical Visor. Swoosh as well ready to go with the Dragon Blade, but no nano boost for either. And we will see the defensive side here with no options for ultimate, so they're going to have to really kind of take advantage of their positioning to try to be able to hold out against the onslaught that is sure to come from Kolsty, Logix, and Swoosh pretty shortly here.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Hammers Esports just blowing all 3 of those last time. There's a Dragon Blade, though, from Swoosh. Earthshatter as well from Kolsty. They find 2 off of it, thanks to Logix with a nice Helix. Shaz, does he get the safety? No, he's not going to. And then the hook, Swoosh, barely keeping himself up, gets the deflect kill as well, if I'm not mistaken. And Movistar Riders now on the verge of finishing this map out with a tremendous time. They still have attack visor from Logix. His positioning has the high ground here. There's an immediate kill on a Christopher. Sound Barrier as well finds 1 kill, almost gets 1. The recall to safety helps out the Tracer. Doesn't even make it back in time. 3 kills as Logix lights up the scoreboard, remaining with 141. Movistar Riders, tremendous finish from them.
And they'll be able to get some more time on their clock, if I'm not mistaken. I think they had a little bit more than that. But nonetheless, yeah, 2:33 is the time that they wind up getting due to the fact that, you know...
Yep, it will give them a little bit more. You're right.
So we will see the attack actually come out first from Hammers Esports, given the fact that they have a little bit less time in their time bank. That is just a minute to try to secure this here. And obviously, if you're Hammers Esports, that's not really a lot of time to work with, but we'll see. We'll have to see if maybe they can make the most of it here. Once again, going for a 2-2-2. Christopher and Sev going to be going onto those 2 tanks. That's going to be Winston as well as Diva, respectively, of course. And Shaz now going to be actually on the Zenyatta here, as opposed to what typically I would guess they would run, which is the Ana, but nonetheless, this isn't something brand new. I mean, he has run the Zenyatta before, obviously. Fisher, obviously, going to be on the Genji. He doesn't swap off too often, sometimes picking up the Soldier, but that's going to be taken up by Snizzlenose, who usually is on the Roadhog, swaps it off a lot, especially like before he went into the street. Yeah, this is exactly what they did the last time around with Fisher on the Genji and Snizzlenose on this particular character. And then we saw them switching with Christopher going over to Reinhardt and Snizzlenose going over to the Roadhog. But nonetheless, again, just a minute here to work with to be able to get this first point. So really, they only have 2 distinct opportunities to be able to secure this first point.
Let's see what they're able to get done with that 1 minute. Of course, the 8 seconds they had remaining after finishing the map, clearly being of great importance for them to be able to make a second push this time around here. But 34 seconds, not a whole lot of time to work with. They're very hesitant to move in. And last time they really struggled to find an opportunity to move in. Christopher kind of all alone back in the hall here trying to find something. He's dangerously low. He's going to be dropped. He's going to be slingshotted across the map as he's taken down. It's a 1-for-1 right now, though Dante under a little bit of pressure. So is the Winston. Colsey gets healed back up thanks to Dante. And now you're looking at 10 seconds and they're dropping like flies here.
Not a lot of time left. I mean, there was a kind of slow push to start things off. I think they wanted to take it, just taking some slow picks and then just basically attack off of that. But it went very much in the way of Hammers Esports at first. But now it seems like, it went very much in the way of Movistar Riders. But definitely looks like they're going to be able to hold on here. This last final attack here from Hammers Esports as they're looking to hold on.
Dragon Blade from Fisher, though, picks up a kill on the Dante. Does he make it out alive? He's dangerously low. He is going to get some good heals, get himself up to a respectable level at this point in time. Self-destruct is ready to go, though, from Fincy. There's a sound barrier as well to counteract quite a bit of damage. Dragon Blade now out for Swoosh. They're not even able to make it back in time, and Hammers Esports coming up short of another point on the board here. And now Movistar Riders have their opportunity about 2:33, if I'm not mistaken, to get something done on the offensive end.
We will see. I mean, certainly 2:33 is a lot better of a time to work with. Certainly manageable, I would say, if you are Movistar Riders. I think that they should be able to pull this one off and make it a 4-3 going into a second map that I'm not sure what Hammers is really going to want to pull out here. I mean, we have seen them on a whole slew of maps at this point. I mean, we've seen them on Nepal, where they've had varying degrees of success. 1 loss, 1 win. Of course, that loss was to Singularity, who did win out in the last series on Nepal as well. I imagine we're more than likely going to see like a Hollywood, perhaps, if they do wind up losing here. That seems like it makes the most sense to me. But, you know, it's hard to say still, because obviously Movistar Riders is still a very strong team. They lost on Hollywood the only time that they played that, so I think that would be the play, but we'll have to see. I mean, obviously teams know a lot more about the matchup than we do, as most of what has been happening has been through scrims. We haven't seen tournaments like this all too often, so definitely shout out to the guys over at PIT for putting this together, because really cool to be able to see these teams competing once again.
Let's see if Movistar can put themselves up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series, or if Hammers Esports will be able to make this one a draw. You know, like you mentioned, 2:33, so much more time to work with, so they've got quite a few pushes in them. It took them about 2 minutes last time, if I'm not mistaken, to be able to capture this one. Maybe it was a little bit more. Let's see what they're able to get done with Logic's back on that Pharah this time around, which didn't pan out for him. Last time, Fisher was such an issue, but there's the first pick coming out there for Dante, finding Snizzlenose. They also get Sev out of the Diva mech. Fisher is going to be dropped as well. He was the biggest issue last time. There's another kill on the board as Christopher is going to be taken down. And just like that, Movistar Riders are going to be able to roll over Hammers Esports, finding the first tick. Should be a second one. This should be a win in the bag.
We will see a really, really decisive victory here for Movistar Riders in overtime.
Not even a minute.
I mean, I wanted to get really hyped about that, but it was just so clean of an attack. They would just basically waltz right over them. And now, of course, 4-3. That is going to be Movistar Riders going ahead and taking that early lead now in the series. This, again, is our final series of the day. For EU, at least, obviously, we will have NA going later. But,
Lucio, play the game.
Probably a boop, I would imagine. Oh, and I think Neptuno actually mentioned in the beginning how he was trying to make a little bit of a highlight reel for himself. but it
I
doesn't
don't
look
know
like
if anything there is highlight worthy.
Well, we've seen a lot, actually. I'm not sure what's going on, but I think we've seen a lot of basically like when things go into overtime, basically whoever has, you know, the most impact based off of whatever the algorithm actually is, it winds up going to them no matter what. I mean, when games go into overtime, I think it's been 100% that it actually has gone to that. I'm not really sure what exactly that was, and now you're making fun of Neptuno in chat, and I feel sad about that for him.
No, I'm just poking at him. I mean, there was a little odd, but you know, play the games or play the games. Movistar Riders, of course, now up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. Let's see what the map choice is going to be from Hammers Esports. It looks like they want to be heading over to Hollywood. They, of course, will be able to change the, they will be able to pick which side they would like to be on to get things underway here. And I'd imagine, did they pick defense? No, they want to be on offense to get things started on Hollywood. So we get to see a little bit of a change up here as teams are going to be swapping sides and moving to this second map here. Are you expecting Movistar to be able to come out on top and find a quick 2-0 in this series?
I think this map might go in favor of Hammers Esports. This one's certainly, I think, going to be pretty close. Hammers Esports has done well against Singularity, whereas, you know, the last time we saw Movistar on this map, it actually was to Dignitas, and they lost that. Both of those maps going 4-3. So still pretty close. I think this one is going to be another one of those where it's going to be pretty close as well. Not sure what to expect in terms of how each of the points are going to go. I mean, Hammers Esports has done quite well with that triple tank strat going with Fisher on that Genji, and it has worked out well for them in the past. I mean, that composition is a very big reason why they were able to take it against Singularity yesterday. So I imagine we'll see some good stuff from them, but Movistar is a really strong team. I think I definitely undervalued this particular team going into this particular group stage, and I haven't seen that much of them in the past, so I'm really excited to see more of them. But this map, I don't know. This one's a toss-up to me. I think it's basically 50-50. I'm going to say that Hammers Esports is going to be able to take this one. Still think it's going to be incredibly close.
Ooh. All right. Yurik's going with Hammers Esports. I'm feeling Movistar here still. That was it was a close map number one. You know, it was very close there on Numbani, but I feel like that second push was, you know, kind of like a nail in the coffin to, you know, showing how much better Movistar might be right here, right now. I'm expecting them to be able to take a really close Hollywood map. We'll see if Hammers are able to battle back and push us to a game number 3, though, as it very well could happen, especially after you know, an impressive push on their side of the ball on Numbani. As the defensive side of things, it looks like Movistar Rider is going to be going with something pretty standard from their end of here, going with the 2-2-2, putting Logix now on the defensive tracer and Swoosh back on the 76.
Interesting that they've gone for this, though. I mean, we've seen a lot of different stuff come out from this team in particular in terms of the flexibility. We've seen basically everybody play Soldier 76 now. I mean, Swoosh now on it. Logix has played it before. Finzi has played it. So very flexible in terms of who's going to be able to play these roles. But as things switch around, I mean, they've been able to show off some versatility that I think really has propelled them into being the team that we've seen them become throughout this group stage. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing from the side of Hammers Esports on the attack the exact same composition as outlined before, which is going to be that triple tank strat with Fisher on the Genji, as opposed to, again, the typical Soldier 76.
Let's see what this positioning of Logix is going to be, going to bite him in the butt here, because he is a little up there. So is Swoosh. They are going to be able to back up just a little bit. So get themselves to safety here, as they are going to be spotted out.
They are literally running the selfless comp and the selfless style of defense on Hollywood here. They are actually emulating that exact same style, but Snizzlenose not going to have any of it. Going to be able to take that kill on Nikolsky as well as Finzi, and they are just running these guys over. I don't know if it was good to experiment about that particular style of defense, you know, up against a team like Hammers Esports, who has shown off their ability to take Hollywood in the past, and that is going to be easy pickings there for Hammers Esports. And not only that, but Shaz coming away with the nano boost already, but nobody really kind of close. I guess Christopher.
Well, I mean, a lot of that relies on your 76, you know, landing every single shot, and of course your tracer just being such a nuisance in the back line. But Finzi going down early was not a good start for those guys. And Nano Boost now onto Christopher. He's hit with a Bio Grenade, but he's going to continue to press forward. There's a Shatter, only manages to hit one. Follows up with a charge. No, he gets booped back, if I'm not mistaken there. Going to go straight into the wall. Now we're going to see Colsey follow up with one of his own hero He actually finds the kill there onto Christopher. Tac Visor comes out. Both teams are going to just unleash everything here as Swoosh finds a kill for himself, looking to finish off Shaz, gets that next kill, and we'll see if they want to stick with that aggressive defensive style.
Yeah, they're still going to stick to this, and again, just emulating that style that has definitely been perfected, I think, by Selfless, but still, I mean, we're seeing some aggression coming out towards the stairs. Fenzi going to go for that kill, and they're going to get a really, really important stagger onto Sev here. Fisher coming out with the Dragon Blade, looking for some kills. They already find 3 on the board, make it 4 there, as it looks like they're going to clean up, despite the fact that they didn't have their Zarya at all, but taking advantage of the fact that two members of Movistar went over to take that pick. So, I mean, they still had an advantage there.
I don't think they were playing that right. I don't think they needed to take the high ground in the sense that it's kind of unreachable by most of the guys on the side of Hammers other than Fisher on the Genji here, but they just didn't really play it properly. Now they have 405 to work with. Graviton Surge going to be tossed out by Seb. Only hits one of them, unfortunately, but Dante was the target. He got taken down. They do return with one of their own onto Fisher. The whole hog comes out from Vinci. He gets put to sleep, though, as Logix connects there with his Pulse Bomb. Nano Boost was also dropped onto Sev, who's trying to melt down Fincy, who's under a lot of heat right now. Such a back and forth battle.
And Neptuno on the point, the Lone Ranger here, as he finally gets finished off there by Fisher. Christopher actually getting pretty close to having that Earth Shatter, and that's going to be big for them in this next fight, I would have to say. I mean, if we can see a speed boost come out from Tomsy so that he can get around to the side of Colsey and really get behind them and lay them down, then they're going to be in a great position to be able to get this second point here very early on.
Sound barrier to get things started here. There's an Earth Shatter as well coming out from Christopher. Hits a couple of them. Not going to find any kills. He's the only one around to find any follow-up whatsoever. He avoids the hook coming out. There's a Nano Boost now coming on to Swoosh. He's hooked in. The damage reduction actually saves his life against Sizzle Nose there. And in the end, Logix finds another pick for himself. Still very back and forth here. Logix, though, coming up clutch. There's a Dragon Blade now from Fisher, trying to turn the tides of the fight. Able to find one pick here. Will be dropped as Logix, again, lighting up the kill feed.
I don't like Fisher pulling that out at all. I mean, Shaz wasn't ready with his ult, so he wasn't going to get the Nano Boost. He already had most of his team dead. I mean, he might have been able to clean it up with the Nano Boost, maybe, by being able to just find some clean picks on some squishier targets, but Logix now going to get picked off here, despite the fact that he did get a heal right after being picked there by the hook. But still, I mean, now 6v5 advantage in favor of Hammers Esports as they're looking to make up for the fact that Fisher did just kind of waste that Dragon Blade a bit.
Still looking for Colsey potentially with a big shatter here to get behind the enemy shield. His shield is actually down, so he drops it. Hits a couple in the back. The Nano Boost now onto Christopher. Graviton surges out as well. Seb picks up 3. The whole hog straight into it is going to steal this team fight victory for Hammers Esports. Now they get the clean 6-man team wipe, getting that second checkpoint here. It's now 3:20 remains for them to finish out this map.
And nothing changed at all here for the defensive side of Movistar Riders, and we're seeing picks coming out left and right from those guys who were on short spawn, and Christopher and Sev able to find those 2 kills. Sev at 8% now, so no Graviton coming up anytime soon as he did just use it. But Fisher now back with the Dragon Blade, not going to have the Nano Boost available for some time here. Just on the defensive side, though, a lot of options. Swoosh and Dante more than likely to come together with that Nano Visor. We'll just have to see if they can find the spacing to make the most of it.
So much to work with, but Christopher with a shatter, not able to find anything. No follow-up. Logix with his own pulse bomb gets Snizzle Nose. Nice charge coming through there as they do finish off Christopher, and they're just going to power forward, only using 2 ultimates. And just like that, Logix is back up to 65% on his pulse bomb, which he had literally just used. They're going to have a sound barrier to work with as well into Fisher's Dragon Blade as long as he doesn't get picked off early.
We'll see Swoosh still back in this kind of back corner, just trying to get a good angle for that tactical visor, perhaps a nano visor if it comes out. A nice Earth Shatter. They're not even going to need it here. And that's the great thing about this, is that if you can get aggressive and find a couple of nice picks, really put some pressure onto that shield, then you're going to be in a position where you're not forced to use some of your ultimates to win these fights. Nano visor now finally going to come out, going to back them up to their spawn where they're not even going to be able to get onto the point. So even though they're not going to find any kills, they're still pushing them off of the objective. They're still wasting their time. And I mean, obviously nothing gained, but nothing really lost either.
Yeah, that's true. It's certainly true, but Neptuno is going to be taken down. They didn't really have all 6 out there. There's now the Nano Blade coming out here from a Fisher, picking up 1, 2 more, 3 actually from Seb here. And they are going to be able to push the guys from the side of Movistar Riders all the way back, force the full regroup now with 120 to work with. Neptuno still no opportunity to actually use that sound barrier, unfortunately. Swoosh now, oddly enough, actually moving over to a Farah to try to get something done.
Oh, Hook coming out on the Snizzle Nose. They should be able to punish that, though. Fenzi going to be isolated and taken out. Sev looking for an opportunity to get that Graviton Surge up, especially now that they have a pretty distinct numbers advantage going into this fight. And we should see the Reinhardt here exposed and taken advantage of a little bit there as Kolsty falls. Swoosh going to be falling as well, and it's just Finzi on the point alongside Neptuno, who's off to the side a little bit. Graviton at the ready here. Nothing to be able to eat it up now that the mech is gone, and that should secure it here.
Yeah, Dante is on the Sombra, but it doesn't matter. 40 seconds remaining here as Hammers Esports again do manage to finish out the map. Let's see what they're able to get done on the defensive side of things. I wasn't the biggest fan of Swoosh making the change over to the Farah. I mean, not a whole lot to really deal with it from Hammer's side, but after watching him, wasn't able to punch out too much damage, unfortunately. And ultimately, the rest of the squad ended up falling there as they gave it up with 40 seconds remaining. And now we get to see what Movistar can do on their offensive push.
I don't mind the Farah up against this particular composition, given the fact that really there isn't a whole lot of options that they have to be able to deal with the Farah. And it's actually surprising that we haven't seen a team really kind of try to expose them in that fashion. But, you know, either way, it didn't really work out for them. I mean, it was just flying way too low to the ground, got dealt with. There wasn't really a good regroup there to be able to make that hold either way. So, I mean, now Movistar Riders looking to potentially close this map out, send it into overtime, and maybe take the win here and take the series with it. But of course, a lot of distance needs to be covered here. Hammers with the finish, definitely looking poised to, you know, if they can do well here on the defense, obviously they'll win this map and take it into a game 3. But it's gonna be a close one, I think. Like I said before, between these two teams on this particular map.
Let's see what they can get done with this dive composition here that's going to be coming out from Movistar. This is something we saw from them earlier. And Fisher now, this time around on 76, rather than, of course, he brought out the Genji quite a bit on Numbani here. To be sticking with that triple tank setup. Purix, what are you expecting from Movistar? Do you think they're going to be able to push this the distance and force that second push from both squads?
I think they should be able to push the distance here. I mean, Hammers Esports pretty solid on this particular map, but Movistar is just a pretty solid team. I think I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get on that first push, this first point, but once they start to get some momentum, I think the street phase is definitely going to open up things for them, and they should be able to take a little bit of advantage for their time bank there in that particular phase of the map. But if they can get this first point quickly, then they're going to be in a great position to perhaps maybe even win out the map. It's just going to come down to how quickly they can secure this one.
Kolsty in a rough spot, though. He's chunked down there by the rest of the side of Hammers, but they return. Finzi now is melting these guys. Snizzle taken down by the Helix from Finzi there. That's a big pickup, getting rid of that, such a threat of a Roadhog. Fortunately, Snizzle was dropped here. He's going to actually be taken down in the end as Fisher returns with one of his own. It's a bloodbath, but Movistar Riders in the end come out on top here with an extremely quick point A capture.
That was so, I mean, for a dive composition, it's kind of started out very weird. I mean, someone who kind of sets the pace of the attack, which is that Winston, which is Kolsty on that particular character, died off very early. But what you saw there was Swoosh and Logix, as well as Finzi, just being like, you know what, this is our target. And then instantaneously, you saw them come together, find the kill, regroup. This is our new target. Run in, find that kill, and it was just very consistent. They were able to find these picks one at a time, sustain themselves just long enough to be able to make those plays happen, and already Logic's opening things up with a nice pulse bomb there.
Nice Swiss strike from Swoosh as well. He's dashing back and forth. No one can get a grip on the Tracer and Genji duo coming out from Movistar Riders, who are melting them down, only needing to use the Pulse Bomb. And Logix is back at 65% on the Pulse Bomb again, Yerks. This guy is just melting through Hammers Esports backline.
Swoosh over here dabbing up on top now. Has the Dragon Blade at the ready. And Dante getting pretty close to that Transcendence as well. They should be able to just murder through this street phase, but we'll have to see if Hammers Esports can pull something out of the bag at the moment.
There's a Dragon Blade from Swoosh. He gets hooked out, unfortunately. They also lost Fincy in the mix of it, as they are going to be forced to back off. I'd advise not dropping anything. It looks like they should be able to get out of this one alive. Logix with 22 HP is going to get that Harmony Orb there from his teammates to get it back up to full, and we're going to see Hammers actually try to press this one. Pulse Bomb's out there from Logix, finds the pick. Dante was also taken down. They really can't afford to move in, I guess, without Christopher, so they're going to be forced to back off of it.
This is actually the old composition that Hammers Esports used to run back in February with Sev actually on the Winston, so they have those two pillar tanks, and then obviously being able to deal with the Genji, we see Swoosh make the swap, and now he's going to try to take advantage of the fact that they have no hit scan long range to try to deal with Swoosh, but he's still being thrust up. Colsty going to be able to find 2 kills with that Primal Rage, Swoosh helping as well, and it seems as though, ooh, Shaz with a nice pick though onto that Pharah in the sky.
Enough to get the job done. There's a Shatter, picks up 2 off it. Fire Strike comes through, or excuse me, Fisher actually gets the Nano Boost. Isn't going to go ahead and pop that Dragon Blade. Probably the smart move, not even needed, as he's just going to follow up off of that first kill onto Finzy. Gets another with the help of Snizzlenose onto Neptuno. 320 still remaining, so plenty of time to work with for Movistar, but they've got to try to match that 40 seconds if possible. I guess it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because they still have under a minute, but they definitely want to get as close as they possibly can.
I think, honestly, a lot of the momentum that we saw Movistar Riders having came down to when Swoosh actually went out with that Dragon Blade and got picked immediately. We saw another pick coming out as well, and that just shut them down. They had a lot of momentum, just gave it up pretty much immediately. Logic's opening things up once again with the Pulse Bomb. Great stuff from him, and we do as well see 3 kills now going in favor of Movistar as Dante actually pulls out the Transcendence as well. It looks like we should see them mopping things up here.
That was all off the back of Dante. A Dragon Blade from Fisher into the back line that was basically... There was no protection there except for that Transcendence, which Dante popped at the just perfect time. They were able to deal with Fisher, which time and time again is one of the biggest threats from Hammers Esports. Fincy now up top with the high ground, picks up 2 with the tac visor, finds a 3rd there below onto Snizzlenose. Now they get Sev out of the Diva mech. They're going to be able to capture this one. 3:45 now to try to finish this one out.
Movistar Riders looking phenomenal in their attack, and some really, really solid picks here as the gates open up. Obviously, this is dead time here as the gates open up, so they're not going to really be able to take advantage of those kills, but certainly the ult charge that they gain from it and maybe trying to get a little bit of a positional advantage going around this corner might help them. I don't think it's going to really amount to too much other than that little bit of ult charge they get off the 2 kills.
They were forced to actually use that attack visor last time, so they don't have that to use. Swoosh ready to go with the barrage. Look at this positioning right now here. He's going to open it right onto the Lucio. Does he find him? No, he doesn't. Doesn't get hooked out, fortunately. Sound barrier comes through, and I think that's so unfortunate he didn't get the Lucio because the sound barrier was available. But Movistar Riders going to be forced to back off this one and look to regroup and maybe make a couple of changes. We'll see what they go with.
Logix once again just going ham in the back lines, just throwing out a lot of DPS here and trying to look for a Pulse Bomb. He's been very, very consistent with his Pulse Bomb so far in this matchup here on Hollywood, and he's going to throw it out. Not actually going to find someone this time as the Reinhardt charges away. Self-destruct going into the back line, though.
Didn't find anything, though. Dante was able to get to safety here. Now Dante has just been shoving these orbs out, now has a Transcendence ready to go, but I think Movistar Riders are making a mistake. I think they're continuing to funnel into this one, not really finding the picks they need to, and they're just going to be forced to back off this. A minute 30 off of that extremely extended team fight has been down the drain now, and 2:10 to go. Hammers Esports very well could side this up with a couple of solid holds on the defensive side of things.
They're going to have to deal with a lot, though, coming up. Transcendence at the ready. Both support ults actually ready to go. Neptuno needs to make sure he stays alive. Dante somehow lived through that one. Logic's taken out, but he should be able to get back pretty soon. That doesn't mean too much. Sev going to be eliminated after this Winston finds him, and they should be able to push this one through. And they didn't use either. They didn't use anything really. I mean, I think it was just
Finzi.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing other than Tac Visor. And Finzi actually saved the day because he got Fisher again coming up clutch because Fisher had the Nano Blade out here. He's back in this engagement. They have a barrage as well from Swoosh to get things started. Both supports ults there. There's the barrage up top. Gets hooked in. Gets taken down just barely. The sound barrier wasn't able to keep him alive, but they're still finding these kills here. Fisher is going to be dropped from afar by the Soldier 76. They still have a Transcendence to work with. Swoosh as well makes a change over to the Sombra now. No one's on the payload. They finish out the map with 1:13 remaining. About 33 seconds quicker than Hammers Esports.
Yeah, so they're going to get that extra little time. I think it's 20 seconds that they actually wind up getting. So I think 133 is going to be what they actually, that is going to be what they end up getting. And their attacking side looked phenomenally, but I mean, really, I mean, it looked a lot better than what we saw from Hammers Esports. So I'm not sure about what I said in the beginning of this, where Hammers Esports, I thought, had a good shot here, but Movistar Riders definitely looking incredibly strong as a team, and maybe they might be able to hold this one out here and maybe take it 2-0 here. But obviously, we'll have to see what Hammers Esports is going to be able to pull off on their attack. Looks like they're going to be going for that same composition that we're used to seeing from them, which again, 3-tank strat coming out. Sev on that Zarya. Sometimes flexes around. We've seen him on D.Va. We've seen him as well on the Winston now, going back to their days back in February, where Sev was primarily on Winston, I would say, but nonetheless, Fisher remaining mostly unchanged here. Genji sometimes swapping over to the 76, but of course this time going to be on the Genji. On the attacking side, going to be seeing that same strat, man. Going to be seeing that selfless style, very aggressive strat, a lot of space making for Swoosh, and if he can land his shots, they might be able to hold this one out. But last time they crumbled under the pressure, and they just didn't really take advantage of the positions, didn't really land the shots that they have to, much like you see Defran doing. But
yeah, I don't like this at all that Movistar are continuing to try this out, because it just, I mean, with a minute, you could very well just hold on the point itself, but they're going to just loop around them here. Oddly enough, they're going to actually isolate the Reinhardt. There's a hook. Whoa, that was a max distance hook from Finzi. How did that land? I don't know if you're watching him right there. That was extremely far, but they come through with the kills in the end. There's 4 kills now on the board as Finzi is coming up as a playmaker, and they basically listened to my words right there and said, nope, Storm, you're wrong on that one. We are going to be able to do this. And now with 15 seconds remaining, not much time to get anything done from Hammers.
And they didn't get too aggressive after. I mean, they made a pretty clean sweep on the point. Now 10 seconds. These guys have to get very, very aggressive, very desperate to get on the point in time. And Snizzle knows with a nice hook to start things off. Finzi going to be eliminated there. And actually everybody kind of crumbling. Colsey going to be dropping down. It's just Neptune on the point trying to deal with the Tracer, and he's actually kind of winning this duel out a little bit.
Whoosh with the Tac Visor, though, from behind. There was no one around, unfortunately. They were all already on the point. Logix finds a pick there. They should be able to stagger back onto it, but they're nearing 2 picks. Only 2 of them kind of in the area. They're making their way back to this one. Finzi is around. Dante with
what an Earth Shatter!
There's an Earth Shatter, though. Coming through. He hits him, unfortunately. They still have an opportunity to make their way back. Pulse Bomb comes through. Not going to find the stick. Only 3 of them around. Does Movistar Riders have this in the bag? Dante with this incredible amount of healing to come through here. It's a 2-on-2. The sleep dart from Dante lands. He picks off 76. The whole hog comes through. They knock him off the point, and Movistar Riders make sure that 4th point does not come through from Hammers Esports.
Man, that was close, though. I mean, Hammers Esports looked like they were going to be able to pull that off, and off the back of Fisher making that swap over to Tracer and really, really having a stellar performance on that particular character. And we haven't seen too much versatility from this guy in the past. Obviously, we've really only seen 2 characters primarily from him, but pulling out the Tracer and doing well with it. Snizzle Nose opening things up with a nice pick as well onto Finzi, who was definitely dominating, I think, on that Roadhog position, at least initially in the overtime phase. But now, of course, 133 remains in this particular map here, given any extra overtime as well. But we'll be able to determine if this is going to go into a draw, or perhaps if Movistar is going to be able to pull out a win here. Again, if it does go into a tie, we will move right on into that 3rd map, and if that becomes a tie, or if Hammers Esports winds up winning that, we will go into tiebreaker on Oasis. But if Movistar wins here, that will be the series and the day here for EU Group Stage B. and NA, of course, coming in a few hours.
With how well the second push from Movistar Riders went on Numbani, you'd think with a minute 33, they should be able to do it. They are going to be going back to the dive position again. What's up?
How about their first push on Hollywood? I mean, even that one went pretty well. They were able to really kind of decisively make that. It was
a slow start though. Colsey was the first to drop. But they were able to battle their way back into that one. So we'll see if that's going to be the same this time around here as we see Colsey making the move into the back. Nice bio grenade connects down to Swoosh as he does keep himself alive for the time being. Christopher is the first to drop here. Snizzle knows on his back foot as well. It's a 1-for-1 as Colsey does get taken down, though. It's 2-for-1 as Movistar Riders moving in here. Snizzle looking for a hook in the back. He's trying to get it back around them and loop around, but Logix finds that pick. Movistar Riders on the aggressive end here. They should be able to at least get a take off of this and force them all the way back.
That actually should be it. I mean, we are going to be seeing Christopher trying to contest this, but the Discord comes up on him, and Logix is just doing way too much damage so far. I mean, I've been on his POV this entire time. Swoosh coming in and actually just swooshing his way through Fisher's body, turning it into a lifeless one, and that's 4-3. And Movistar Riders taking this series 2-0. Hollywood with it.
GG's to both sides, but like you said, that's going to be Movistar Riders now up to 2-1 in the standings, tying them at second place. That's going to move Hammers Esports down to a 1-2 record. Terrific games all around, but Movistar Riders just proving themselves as the better team here and now on Numbani and Hollywood Heroics. And honestly, I was very impressed by Finzi with the Soldier 76 here. I was watching him at the end. He was coming up pretty clutch for these guys, but helping his team secure the victory in the kind of overtime rounds here on Hollywood.
Yeah, they were definitely melting guys together. Swoosh going to be able to secure that damage card, but nonetheless, I mean, all three of those guys on those DPS roles were looking fantastic throughout that overtime set. Looked very good on both attacks, actually. The latter one, I think, being a little bit more convincing, especially from the POV of Logix there on the Tracer. But ultimately, I mean, that's it. That's all we got for you guys today here for Group Stage B. But Movistar Riders certainly putting themselves in a position to sit atop Group B alongside, fellow contenders, Misfits, as well as Dignitas now, who have fallen to 1 and 2. But Dignitas also have a lot of their hard matchups, I think, out of the way for the most part. So we'll have to see what will amount to that, at least in terms of these last two games that we have left for each of these teams, as it is going to be Friday and Saturday to complete out the European group stage, and then we'll see them again in the playoffs. But of course, today also starts NA, which will be in just under 4 hours from now. Actually, I think 3 hours and 50 minutes is that time.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and take a brief look at the standings here. Misfits are atop everything at 3-0. Following them is Singularity Ninjas and Movistar Riders now at 2-1. We have Hammers Esports and Dignitas tied at 1 and 2, and then X Alternate Attacks at 0 and 3 in the standings. They're still in it. All teams are still in it. Tomorrow might be a different story if X Attacks lose and a couple other teams lose as well. We'll have to see. Tomorrow's matches are going to be Singularity Ninjas up against Movistar Riders. Battle for second place. That should be a terrific matchup. I believe that's going to be the first one. Then we have Dignitas up against Hammers Esports, and then to round out the day will be Misfits up against X Alternate Attacks. Like Hurek said, that is all we have today. Tune in for NA. That's in about 3 hours and 49 minutes from now. Lots of great stuff can be coming from that. Group A, day one for North America. That's going to be it from us, guys. We hope to see you back for NA. Have a good evening.